my J dolls, and I'm back with another video. Before we get into this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that bell. Y'all, we're on the road to 3,000 subscribers, so don't play with us because we ain't never been one of them, okay? And if you ain't subscribed and it's free 99, you a hater. Tell you what, your mama squash you, raise you like that, period. Anyways, y'all, I'm gonna try not to scream at y'all in this video. I feel like I scream in every video. And I just talk loud. This is how I am in real life. So I'm just trying to bring it down a notch. But today, y'all, I'm doing a story time, okay? About the time I went on a date with a therapist. And I'm going to just tell y'all right off the bat. Choose your therapist very wisely, bro. They just giving anybody these licenses. I'm telling you right now. Choose your therapist very wisely. Okay? So I'm going to tell y'all how we met. We met the most infamous way, which is Hinge. Y'all, so I meet this man on Hinge, and he is like the first black man I met on Hinge in a little while, like where we locked in, we talked, and we're going on a date. When we're messaging, he seems cool. Like, we actually have good conversations. Everything is flowing. Everything is going. I'm like, I mess with him. I like that he can hold a conversation, because at this point, we're like just bouncing back and forth, We're sitting in like long text messages. So then he's like, okay, like we should go out on a date. So mind you, when I had showed my old friends, well, my old co-workers, old friends, I guess. When I would show my old friends him, like, they were like, oh, he kind of look a little gay. Okay, he look a little gay. But I was like, I don't think so. I think he just like a little alternative black man. Like, he had a nose ring or whatever, and he just gave me like artsy black man. And I'm like, I like me an artsy black man, so I'm gonna check it out. Like, I'm gonna scope the scenery out and see what it be about. So anyways, y'all, I disregard that, whatever. Like, we go on this date. So before we go on a date, I remember he had first suggested exactly what restaurant. So it was this French restaurant we were supposed to go to in downtown Minneapolis or uptown or something of that sort, and it was really nice. Like, he chose it and everything. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice, whatever. And then we was talking about our favorite restaurants, and then I told him Cove is one of my favorite restaurants. Cove in Wayzata, to be specific, right? If you're from Minnesota and you've been to Wayzata is very bougie. It's a very nice area, and it's right by the water. So I'm like, all right, like, I like to go to Cove, and I like the Wayzata one. There's one in Edina, but the one in Edina is not by the water. So we was talking about this and stuff, and then he was like, oh, well, actually, maybe we shouldn't go to the French restaurant, and maybe instead we should go to Cove, since Cove is your favorite restaurant. Like, let's just go. And like, I've never been there before. So I'm like, okay, period. So I tell him that it's the one in Wayzata. Remember this, okay? So anyways, y'all, I get to Wayzata, and I go inside of the restaurant because he said he's there. Because mind you, I'm always late, right? So I'm not that late, but I'm a little late. So I pull up, I get parking. It's very hard to park over there. I go park, and he says he's there. He's outside. So I go in there to go find him. Because like, oh, he's here. We got a reservation. Blase, blase. Actually, do they even take reservations? Yes, he did have a reservation. There was a reservation, but so when I went outside, I didn't see him. And I'm like scoping, you know, Wayzata is full of white people, okay? I can spot a black man if a black man is there. So I only see one black man, and I'm like, that ain't him. So I'm looking, I don't see him. So he's like, I said, I'm outside too. Where are you? He said, I'm outside too. Where are you? So he ended up calling me, and I'm like, are you at the one in Wayzata? Like, are you at the right one? He ended up being at the one in Edina. So he was like, oh, no, I'm so sorry. Like, I went to the wrong one. Like, I will come. Just stay there. I will come. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, let me know. If you want me to come there, I will come there. Because if we already got reservations, it's kind of hard to get reservations here. Like, he's like, no. Like, just try to, like, get us a buzzer, and I will be over there. I'm sorry. And he just hung up, like, very abruptly. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, no problem. So at this point, I get a buzzer because there's always a wait at this Wayzata one, and it's right by the lake, and it's a beautiful lake, and there's a boardwalk. So I'm like, I take my buzzer to the boardwalk. It works over there. So I just walk around the water, enjoy the water and the nature. This time was the summertime, and I'm having a good old grand old time. Well, this Indian couple comes up to me, and they're selling roses. Like, they're selling single-handed roses. So they're like, oh, you want to buy a rose? Buy a rose, like $5 or something, la la la. And I'm like, no, I don't really need that. Thank you, though. You know, because I know I'm waiting for my little date. So, and this time wearing my white dress. I was looking so cute. My makeup was done. I think I had my hair cut, too. Yeah, I think I had the haircut and I had my white dress and all that stuff, whatever. And they were like, okay. I was like, you know, ask all these other white people around here. This is literally why I said this. I said, ask all these other white people around here. Like, they got money. They're rich. Like, literally, people that are like rich, like millionaires. So they be driving Bentleys and freaking G-Wagons and freaking Rolls Royces. Like, stuff you do not see in Minnesota. That's what you see in Wayzata. Like, Minnesota people, even when they have that much money, they don't even flash like that, like the Wayzata people. So he was like, yeah, we've been talking to everybody, but they saying the same thing you said. So I'm like, okay. Like, so now I'm feeling bad because I'm like, okay, these people around here are just racist. Like, they don't even want to give the black person no money, even though, you know, he Indian, the skin color is black. So, brown, black person. So, boom. I literally was like, okay, I got you. So I end up sending him, because I was like, I don't have cash. He was like, oh, we got Cash App. So I ended up sending Cash App $5, got my rose. And I watched him go around, and everyone just tell him, no. So I'm like, I'm starting to feel bad for him. Like, these people got money getting off of boats, and they wouldn't even give the $5 to this freaking couple. Like, and they were like, we've been here all day. Like, we just trying to, like, feed our family and stuff. So I was like, okay, bro, you give me with a stop. You give me with a sob story. You give me with a sob story every time. If you gotta eat and raise your family, I'm gonna pay. I'm gonna give you the money. So I'm like, all right, I got you. So when my date actually gets there, right, the Indian couple comes and finds us again, because he's like, I'm here. So I meet him right by the front door area. We hug. The Indian couple comes, and they're like, oh, by the way, before I get to him, they're like, oh, you're so beautiful. Like, the way you dress. And we're not just saying this. Like, you look amazing. Like, you look like the best here. Like, I'm like, okay, period. Like, yeah. You're probably saying that because I gave you the $5. But I was eating real bad. I might put a picture in here if I'm not lazy. So, anyways, they were walking out the boardwalk. Well, I'm walking out the boardwalk. And then my date is there. I'm going to just call him, because I want to keep saying his date. I'm here. Okay, because he was a writer. I'm going to call him Writer. Okay, so Writer is here now. We conversate, we hug, and then the Indian couple comes. And they're like, oh, hi, da-da-da. Like, you need to get, mind you, I have the other rose in my hand. You need to get your girl a rose. Like, you taking her on a date, you need to buy her a rose, da-da-da. He's like, oh, well, she, like, already has a rose. He's like, yeah, like, she needs another rose. Like, she deserves it. And then he's like, okay, like, how much is it? Like, he was under peer pressure, like, because he knew. He was like, no, like, I'm not buying a rose. Like, I would look at him like, bro, you broke. You can't pay $5 for this rose for me? Period. So, anyways, y'all, he was like, $5. He's like, oh, wow. This is what Writer said. Like, oh, that's an expensive rose. Like, that's an expensive rose. And then he's like, no. Like, they're going back and forth about this rose being $5 when I just literally paid the $5. And I was like, okay, cool. So, like, literally, they going back and forth. I'm like, okay, this is already a red flag in my head. Like, it's $5. And these people, you can see they outside hustling. This is the thing is, I also have a soft spot for hustlers, okay? So, if you a hustler, I'm going to, like, I'm going to donate my money to you. Like, if you outside selling lemonade, you outside selling anything, I'm an entrepreneur girly, I'm going to give you a coin. Like, if you outside holding a sign, if I got it, if I got cash, I'm going to give it to you. But if you an entrepreneur, you out there for real, I'm going to Venmo you, Cash App you, or whatever. So, anyways, he going back and forth with this man about $5. And then he looks over to me. He's like, oh, do you want another rose? Whatever. I'm like, I can take one. Like, he's like, okay. So, like, the man was like, oh, Writer was like, I don't have cash. He was like, oh, we got Cash App. So he opens his wallet to Cash App this man, and then they gave us the rose. So that man conned the mess out of Writer to get me this rose, as he should. Like, it shouldn't even be no contemplating. Like, it's our first date. You should literally be a little P with it. Like, okay, yeah, let me get her a rose. Like, now it's like feeling like I'm making you get it in a way. Like, even though I'm not saying give me the rose, like, but it was just awkward. So I'm like, okay, anyway. After this point, we walking into, mind you, by the way, I found out through text message he was Scorpio. He was a Scorpio. I vibe with Scorpios because I'm a Pisces and I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. So I'm compatible with Scorpio. So I'm like, okay, cool. That makes sense why, like, we vibe and, like, we can talk. But when we got in person, it was, like, weird. Okay, so we sat down. We ordering food and drinks. And I'm ordering a drink. And I'm like, oh, what are you going to get for a drink? She's like, oh, I'm not getting a drink. I was like, oh, okay. Like, do you not drink? Because I'm just... The thing is, I don't care if you don't drink, but I want to know, because if you don't drink for certain reasons, I don't want to have a drink in front of you. You know what I mean? Or if you're not drinking, I feel kind of weird drinking with you. You know what I mean? Because why am I drinking? You're not drinking. Or if you have a certain situation and reason why you don't drink, then I don't want to drink in front of you. That's why I was asked a lot. I'm like, oh, like, do you don't drink? He's like, no, I drink. I just don't. Well, I'm just not having a drink tonight. Like, is that weird? Like, that's how he said it. It was like, is that weird? I'm like, no, it's not weird. I was just wondering, just make sure, like, there's no reason, like, so I'm just not drinking in front of you if there's a reason, you know? And then he's like, oh, no, that's no reason, whatever, blah, blah. So we start looking at the menu, and then he was like, oh, wow, like, first of all, he kept commenting about Wyzetta, like, oh, Wyzetta is so bougie, and like, da da da. And then he was like, mind you, Edina is bougie too, but Wyzetta is like really, really bougie. So he literally starts looking at the prices on the menu. He's like, wow, like the prices are even higher here than they were in Edina. And I'm like, really? Like, huh, that's interesting, because it's the same restaurant. And I never been to the Edina one, so I couldn't tell you. I've been here several times. Like, I took myself here several times. Yeah, literally, I took myself there several times. So I'm like, the prices ain't that high. Like, the prices is 20 something, maybe $30. Like, it is really not that high for a day. Like, it would be different if we went to Ruth Chris, which is like $50 for the steak alone, or we would to went to the PS steak, where a steak is $80. That'd be different. But baby, it's $30 for a whole meal. Like, please pipe down. So I'm like, you already complained about the roast, and this is before the economy got economy. Because remember, y'all, that was in the summer. So yeah, you complained about the roast, then you complain about the prices on the menu. So right now I'm like, this is really weird. So mind you, I'm like, okay, I'm just not gonna think too deep on it. I order my drink, okay, and I order my meal, and I forgot what I got. Did I get flatbread, or did I get fried rice, lobster fried rice? I might have got lobster fried rice, because he got like a fish something too. So I knew it wasn't being cheap. So I probably got lobster fried rice. And lobster fried rice is like $30. So it wasn't like, oh, you got lobster at $60. No. Like, and I've ordered that on my own before. So, boom. We're eating, we're talking, and he tells me that the reason why he got on Hinge was because his friend was on Hinge. Like, his friend was in a relationship before, and then his friend decided, he was going through a heartbreak, he decided to get on Hinge. Then he got on Hinge and he met somebody else, like shortly after he broke up with the last person. And then he ends up being with that person, and they end up getting married in like a year. I'm like, okay, not to judge, but your friend already sounds like a red flag. Like, you thought this was like an amazing love story, but it gives me that this girl was a rebound, and then like he ended up marrying her very quick, because maybe he don't know how to be alone. Like, but okay, interesting. So we were just talking about a bunch of stuff, and then what came up was that he was a writer. He was a freelance writer. So he told me he traveled a lot. Like, this is the most he's actually been in Minnesota. Before, he kept traveling so much in different countries and different states, and he would do a lot of freelance writing. And freelance writing was good because you get paid well, but the job's a little scarce, especially with like people like in the film industry and the strikes and stuff with the film industry. Blase. So then he decided to then like actually working what he went to school for, because he went to school for psychology. So now he's becoming a therapist. He's like a therapist, but it's like a whole thing you have to go through. Like, I don't know what it's called. It's kind of like when nurses, and is it nurses that go to clinicals or whatever? I don't know how to explain it, but he's working in it, but he has not fully got his license yet. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. I'm not educated on that. If you are a therapist watching this because I put therapy in it, let me know. But he tells me about how he's actually a therapist. And so I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, so, like, do you go to therapy? Like, I like to ask people this because how are you a therapist and you don't go to therapy? Like, I'm sorry. Like, I feel like it's just such a, like, it's such a hypocrite, like, to me. So he's like, oh, no, I'm not in therapy. Like, I've been in therapy before, but, like, I don't see a need for therapy. Like, I don't feel like you need to go to therapy. Like, I feel like you only need to go to therapy if, like, an event happens in your life, but it's not necessary, and, like, no one really needs therapy. Like, he went in this whole ramble about how you don't need therapy. So why are you a therapist? You don't believe in therapy, so why the hell are you a therapist? So I say, okay, so why are you a therapist then? Because if you don't really believe in therapy, he was like, well, like, I grew up in an African household, and, like, we just taught to go to school for healthcare, so I went to school for that, and that's what I ended up doing. And then writing, like, I took a little break from writing or slowing down or something, whatever. So now I started using my psychology degree, and, like, so I started to get into it. So, aka, you're doing it for the money. So you're going to sit here and listen to people's lives when you don't care about their lives and you don't even think therapy works or therapy is real. We literally had a whole conversation about this. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Now, mind you, we're vibing. Everything else is cool. Like, in my head, I'm like, okay, he kind of cool, but he kind of weird at the same time. Like, I don't really know what I'm getting right now, but I'm getting, like, weird. Like, and sometimes when I get weird, I be attracted to it. I don't know what it's about me, but it'd be more like I need to solve it. Like, I need to figure out what it's about. And that's the problem. So anyways, it's about time for the check to come. So he's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, do you, whatever. So he goes to the bathroom, and I'm thinking in my head, like, I hope this man don't go to the bathroom. Mind you, he had put his card in the thing already. He put his card in the receipt for the bill. He gets us, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. I said, oh my God, I hope this man card don't decline. His card is going to decline. Literally, this is what I felt like. Okay, his card is going to decline. Because if y'all go watch my story about my broke ex, like my broke ex card decline or something like that, I did a story time. I try to put at the end of this video. It's really old, like 4 years ago when I used to be plus size. And his card declined at the Cheesecake Factory. This is exactly the same way it happened. He literally put his card in the bill. And mind you, he wasn't paying for my ex wasn't paying for my food. He was only paying for his food, mind you. And his card didn't go through for his food when he went to the bathroom. So I'm like, yeah, go watch that if y'all want that. So I'm already thinking, like, my intuition's like, that card is not about to go through. Something weird about to happen with that card. So he goes to the bathroom. The lady takes the card to go run it. And I see her, like, looking at the computer, like, confused. Like, because you could see Eddie Diner, like, when you're outside on the patio, you can see straight into the restaurant. So you can see right when they ring up stuff on the registers. So she's looking like, I'm like, oh, baby, that ain't going to go through. And if it ain't going to go through, baby, I'm paying for my meal and you're through. You're going to pay for your own and I will pay for my own, period. So then, I see her, like, just, she's seen him go to the bathroom. This is the crazy, and that's why I respect her. Like, I respect that Karen right there, because she said, baby, I'm gonna bring this up to you. And maybe that's a good thing. Like, she was trying to be respectful. Like, I don't want to tell her your card declined, but then I see, like, now you really pushing him to make sure that he go run a different card or so. So anyway, there's a register here. She walks to the register over here where it's close to the bathrooms. He comes out the bathroom and she stops him, like, and they're talking. I'm like, okay, his card didn't work. So then he whips out a card or something, and then it's done. So I'm like, okay, either that card got declined, he got a different card. Yeah, it had to, because he whips a different card out of his, well, I don't know. It was some stuff going on over there. I couldn't fully see because the other register was closer to me. The other one was farther, like closer to the bathroom. So I'm like, did his card just decline? Like, I don't care about you not having the money per se, like, or your card declining. Well, I do. It's more the fact, like, you know you ain't got no money. Why is you even ask me on a date right now? Like, why is you even trying to take me out? You could have waited till next week till you got paid. But you persisted. You want to take me out. And you want to take me out to the restaurant I like. So you should look at the prices. And the other French restaurant was actually expensive as well. So why do you pick something cheaper than? Like, this didn't make no sense. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to let it slide. Because I don't know what conversation they had. Maybe he had to switch something to his checking from savings. Maybe that card somebody might get fried on it. I don't know what the situation is. So I'm on my business. The bill is paid. And that's all I know. Period. And that's all I need to know. So at this point, I'm like, I'm going to let him slide because I don't know what the conversation was about. He still paid for my stuff, so we good. So he doesn't talk about the situation with the card at all. We just keep talking. Everything's cool. And then we leave. When we leave, he walks me to my car. He walks me to my car. We actually park kind of close to each other. And he's like, oh, yeah, is this your car? I'm like, yeah, this is my car. And then we start talking outside of the car. Like, I hate when that be happening, like, after a day, y'all talking outside the car. It gets chilly here in Minnesota. So I'm like, okay, it's kind of getting chilly, like, or it's just kind of weird, like, let's just sit in the car. Which is kind of like, well, you just met this guy. Why you let him in the car? Like, y'all, I know a crazy person when I see him. Like, I'm not going to just get in the car with a killer. Okay? I'm not getting in one with them. But I was just like, okay, so let's sit in the car. So we sit in the car and we get to talking. And like I said, y'all, I get these downloads. And I really do. I am sorry to say it, but these downloads really be coming from my spirit guys. Like, because the questions come out of nowhere. And every time I ask a question, it touches somebody. Like, it be the specific question they need to be asked. So I asked him, I was like, you know, I feel like I got to ask you this. Because I be asking a lot of people this. But like, do you do any drugs? Mind you, on his profile, I think he had the drug one gone on his little thing. So it had no alcohol, and then I think he had the weed as yes, but then all the other stuff was gone or something like that. So I'm like, oh, like, do you do drugs? And then he's like, drugs? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm like, I mean, like, do you do drugs? Like, any type of drugs? Like, he was like, well, like, I don't, like, I'm like, bro, okay, like, get it out. So he pretty much told me that he's done acid before and he's done shrooms and stuff, but he only really does that when he's trying to get like the feeling of the music and when he's in a creative space and like helps him think and stuff. And he said that he was never going to try those type of things, but then when he got into college and the pandemic happened, he just like tried it and he was like, it wasn't bad, but then but his parents, because they're African, always told him how bad drugs were, so he tried to stay away from drugs. And he even started drinking alcohol till he was older. So he does acid and shrooms sometimes, but he said he hadn't done them in like a year. And I'm like, okay, for some reason, I keep attracting acid people. If you go watch my Less Trauma Bond podcast on episode Decentering Men, I talk about the ex that I dated that did acid before, and I cried on the phone and told him I didn't want to talk to him no more when he was on acid. Like, you know, acid ain't the worst drug, but it's a psychedelic or whatever. But still, like, that man has done other things now, so it's very like once you start dibbling down in too many things, baby, So I'm like, okay. That's already a warning for me. Like, I don't like people that do those type of things. Like, if you smoke a little tree, like, we can deal with it. Not all the time, because I'm not a addictive person. Like, you're not going to be smoking in my house, and you're not going to be smoking in my house at all in general, and then you're not gonna be smoking in my house 24/7. Like, if you gotta wake up and smoke, you gotta go to bed to smoke, you gotta smoke to eat, all that type of stuff, I think you have a problem and you need to go see another therapist. Like, that's how I feel about that. So I don't mind if the person is smoking a little tree, like here and there, whatever, like do a little bit edible here or there. But if you gotta do it to function, like, that's when I have a problem, because I feel like you're an addict, even though most pieheads don't think they're addicts, but they are. So anyways, boom. He tells me about the psychedelics and stuff that he's been trying. And then he tells me that he smokes, you know, tree or whatever. And he does that, like, kind of on a daily basis or whatever. Like, but he kind of seemed like his whole vibe changed up when I asked him about drugs. You know, like, I shouldn't have said that D word in this video, but you know what I mean. So anyways, like, his whole vibe switched up. Like, he looked, like, scared. Like, he was ready to get out of the car. Like, you probably do some other stuff, but you ain't want to tell me. So I'm like, okay, so have you ever done Coca-Cola. Y'all get what I'm saying? No, I never done that. Have you ever done METH? No, I never done like, whoa, no, I never done that. This is the crazy thing. You gotta ask these type of questions because METH is actually more popular than you think it is. Okay? And also, people be off that fat too because y'all know a lot of these pills are fat. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get demonetized. But you gotta ask these questions because you might be messing with an METH head and you ain't gonna know, because I've seen an METH head in real life and they don't look like an METH head. I'm telling you. So, and if y'all watch them stories on Netflix about the people that dated the worst ex or whatever, they was on METH and they will and throw you in the river. Like, baby, you got to be very careful because you might not be able to see that they're been on that before, because I've seen people on it and they look normal, especially if they got a handle on it. So you got to ask these type of questions. I'm sorry, and especially if you meet somebody off a date now. So I asked him this stuff and like he kind of is like weird, like, oh, so like, you know, like, is that bad? Like, is it bad that I tried? I'm like, well, it's not bad as you tried it, but it's just per se something I don't like or really agree with, because I used to want to be a drug counselor. So like it's something that's like really like a turn off for me because of my experiences around that. And that's the thing. I'm not gonna judge you because you've done it a year ago and it's a psychedelic, but it's still, yeah, like I've dated someone that tried it before and I'm not a fan of that, you know. So anyhow, after this it kind of gets awkward. He's like, okay, like I'm gonna like, I'm like, okay, cool, you know. He told me like text him when I got home, and I said, okay, sounds good, text me when you make it home. So after that date, so I'm like, first of all, this man is a therapist and he does shrooms and acid and he doesn't believe in therapy and he's emotionally unstable. Like who are they hiring now? Is it like they understaffed? Like maybe a lot of people do got problems now. A lot more people coming with some more mental health problems. So maybe they're getting too many clients and not enough employees. That's what I'm getting. Because this was like, this is a red flag to me. So anyways, y'all, I ended up texting when I made it home, and then he ended up texting me back, and we was texting for a little bit. Not gonna lie, we was texting for like another day or so, and then he went ghost. He went ghost on my ass, like he went ghost on my ass real bad, and I'm happy he did. I'm happy he did because honestly, I'm not trying to put something on him, but I feel like he doing some more than what he said. Or it's probably not been a year since he been dabbling in his psychedelics. And I just felt like he didn't feel good about himself. Now, mind you, I do notice sometimes when I go on dates with people like that, I can come off as judgy because they've done so many weird things that it's like now I'm overanalyzing. Not overanalyzing, I'm analyzing it properly. Because as you can see, I was able to pick up that he's done drugs before, and I was able to pick up that like his card was going to decline. I'm not overthinking, I'm just intuitive okay? And when you start doing all these weird things and you already was in the wrong place, like you're discombobulated. He was discombobulating a little weird. But yeah, y'all, that's the story time. It ain't too crazy, but y'all really need to watch out who y'all think who's your therapist and choosing the right therapist. I know a lot of people literally go through choosing therapists and like having a therapist and then going to another one and all that stuff, and it's a whole process. And me personally, I'm gonna make a whole nother video about therapy. Like, do I feel like people need to go to therapy? Short answer, I'm gonna just say right now, I think people need to go to therapy, and I feel like therapy is the first step to become self-aware. I do believe therapy is the first step to be self-aware, and then you can also do the self-work on your own. Like, you can do self-help books, you can do journaling, you can start pouring into yourself once you are self-aware. Once you are aware of your flaws and what you can work on through therapy, then now you can do the work. I hope that makes sense. But I did think it was very weird that a therapist is saying he don't believe in therapy and he's using a bunch of drugs. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how I feel about my therapist being high every day. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not judging. But that's like, I feel like even being high every day is the same thing as being drunk all day long. Like, of course, it's a different vibe. Of course, you're chiller, and a drunk person's like this, but still, like, you're still impaired. Like, you're impaired or whatever. You're impaired while you're having deep conversations with. Maybe it may help you with your third eye. Maybe we'll tap you into this. But baby, shouldn't you be able to deal with your problems if you helping other people solve theirs? I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, y'all, that's my little story time. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.